Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today, we're tackling something pretty special.
Hmm?
Al-Fatihah, the opening chapter of the Quran.
Yeah, it's one of those texts that's just like universally known, even outside of Islam.
Right. Like, it's recited millions of times every day.
Seriously, millions. But the thing is, most people just know it as the first chapter.
They don't get the depth.
Exactly. So today, we're going deep. Like, why is this chapter so important to Muslims?
Why is it considered the foundation of the whole Quran?
And why does it have, like, 5 different names?
Okay, yeah, that's always thrown me off. The opener, the mother of the book, the 7 repeated verses.
Oh, and don't forget the cure and the remedy.
See, so many names. What's the deal with that?
Well, each name sort of unlocks a different aspect of its significance. Like the opener, that's pretty straightforward.
Because it's how Muslims start their prayers.
Yeah. But then you have the mother of the book, or Al-Kitab in Arabic.
Mother of the book, that's a powerful image.
It is. And the word in Arabic, it's not just mother. It's more like a source, a foundation.
Okay, so it's like the root.
Yeah. Think of Makkah, the holiest city in Islam. It's called al-Qura.
The mother of villages.
Right. Because it's considered the first and most important. Like the origin.
Okay, I see. So, Al-Kitab means Al-Fatihah is kind of like the source code for the whole Quran.
You got it. It's
Yeah.
got the essence of everything that follows, the core principles, the main themes. You read Al-Fatihah, you're getting a preview of the entire Quran.
That's amazing. So even if you don't understand the whole Quran, Al-Fatihah gives you a head start.
Exactly. And remember, the Prophet Muhammad himself described it as the greatest chapter.
Really? Like even better than all the other chapters.
Yep. There's a story where he even offered to teach it to his companions as, like, the most valuable gift.
Wow. Talk about high praise.
Seriously. It really shows you how important this chapter is in Islam.
But it's not just theory, right? Like it's part of everyday practice too.
Absolutely. Al-Fatihah is woven into the very fabric of Islamic life.
So how?
Well, for starters, it's absolutely essential for prayer. The Prophet even said that prayer is incomplete without it.
So you can't pray without reciting Al-Fatihah.
Nope. And there's this beautiful hadith that explains why. Allah says that he divides the prayer between himself and the servant. So imagine this, right?
Okay.
You're reciting each verse of Al-Fatihah, and Allah is responding to each one. It's like a back and forth.
Oh, wow. I've never thought of it that way. It's like a conversation.
Exactly. It's this incredible dialogue, this exchange of praise and gratitude and supplication. Prayer becomes so much more intimate when you see it like that.
That's beautiful.
It really emphasizes that prayer isn't just us talking AT God. It's a connection,
Yeah,
a relationship.
I love that. So, okay, before we even get to Al-Fatihah, we often say, Audu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, right?
Seeking refuge in Allah from Satan. Yep.
But why? Why is that so important, especially before something like Al-Fatihah?
Great question. It's all about protection, really. The Quran commands us to seek refuge, especially before we engage with sacred texts. Because Satan wants to distract us.
Distract us from what?
From righteousness, from connecting with God, from the message of the Quran itself.
So it's like a spiritual battle.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that, with human enemies, sometimes kindness can work. But Satan, he's different. He needs divine intervention.
I need God's help to keep him away.
Precisely. So we seek refuge, we acknowledge that we need Allah's protection before we even start.
That makes so much sense. It's like putting on spiritual armor.
Exactly. Now, once we've sought refuge, then we come to those powerful words at the beginning of Al-Fatihah, Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful.
Exactly. And those names, they're not just thrown in there randomly. Understanding the nuance between them, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me about the nuance.
So Allah, that's the unique name for God, right? It denotes his absolute oneness, his divinity.
No one else can be called Allah.
Exactly. Then you have Ar-Rahman, the most gracious. This points to a universal mercy, encompassing all creation.
Okay, so it's like God's mercy is all-encompassing.
Yes, but then comes Ar-Rahim, the most merciful. And here's the thing. While it's primarily used for Allah, it can be used to describe others too.
Really? Like how?
Like people who are exceptionally compassionate, for example. It's a more specific kind of mercy, one that's tied to action and behavior.
So even in just those 3 words, we get layers of meaning about God and his attributes.
You got it. And it highlights how mercy isn't just a general concept. It manifests in different ways.
Wow. Okay, so we've got Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. We're off to a good start.
Yeah.
But then what? What happens next in Al-Fatihah?
Well, next comes a story that's really going to blow your mind. It's about a companion of the Prophet who used Al-Fatihah in a completely unexpected way. So this companion, he's traveling with a group, and they come across a tribal leader who's been poisoned, badly poisoned. Yeah, it's serious. And this companion, he doesn't have any special healing knowledge, he's not a doctor or anything.
Okay, so what does he do?
He decides to use Al-Fatihah as a remedy.
Wait, what? He uses Al-Fatihah to try to heal this guy?
Yep. And get this, it actually works.
No way. The poisoned leader recovers.
He recovers. And when word gets back to the Prophet Muhammad, he confirms it. He says that Al-Fatihah is a ruqyah.
A what?
A ruqyah. It's like a spiritual remedy, a way of seeking healing and protection from Allah.
So Al-Fatihah, it's a prayer, it's the foundation of the Quran, and it can also heal people.
That's the amazing thing about it. It has so many layers of meaning and application.
Hold on, how did the companion actually use it? Did he just, recite it over the guy?
Well, the hadith doesn't give us those specifics, but it does raise some fascinating questions. Right?
Yeah, did he blow on water? Did he write it down? So many possibilities.
It's another one of those things that just adds to the mystique of Al-Fatihah.
Totally. I mean, it's no wonder it's also known as the cure and the remedy.
Exactly. And then, of course, you have the 7 repeated verses. That's a pretty literal name.
Because we recite it 7 times in every prayer.
Right. And that repetition, it's not just for emphasis. It's about internalizing the message.
So the more you recite it, the deeper its meaning becomes.
Precisely. Each time, you're connecting with its message on a deeper level.
Okay, this is blowing my mind. So Al-Fatihah is like a mini Quran.
You could say that. It's all the core tenets of Islam. Belief in God, his attributes, the day of judgment, seeking guidance. It even touches on the idea that there are those who are guided and those who stray from the path.
It's all packed into those 7 verses.
And it reminds us every time we pray that we're aligning ourselves with the divine will. We're seeking that connection with Allah.
Wow. I'm starting to realize that I've taken Al-Fatihah for granted. I've recited it so many times but never really understood it.
It's easy to get caught up in the routine, right?
Yeah, totally. But now, knowing all this, it's going to change how I approach prayer. I'm going to be way more present, way more mindful of what I'm saying.
That's the key. It's not just about reciting the words. It's about reflecting on their meaning, letting them sink in.
So any tips for actually doing that? It's easy to say reflect on the meaning, but how do you actually do that?
Well, one thing you can try is slowing down. Really pay attention to the Arabic, even if you don't understand the language. Focus on the sounds, the rhythm.
Savor each word.
Exactly. And then, of course, looking up translations and interpretations can help a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've definitely been guilty of rushing through prayers, not really paying attention to what I'm saying.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
But think of it like a conversation, right? You wouldn't rush through an important conversation with someone you love.
True. So this is a conversation with the divine. We should treat it that way.
Absolutely. And remember, just like any relationship, the more you invest in it, the more you get out of it.
Yeah.
The more you engage with Al-Fatihah, the more its wisdom will reveal itself to you.
It's like peeling back layers of an onion, constantly discovering something new.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And speaking of layers, there's another aspect of Al-Fatihah we haven't even touched on yet, the significance of where it was revealed. So where was Al-Fatihah revealed?
Makkah.
Makkah, the heart of Islam.
Exactly. It's where the Prophet Muhammad received his very first revelations.
Oh, wow. That's right.
So the fact that Al-Fatihah came down in Makkah, it really points to its foundational role.
It's like the starting point of the whole faith.
Right. It lays out the core principles that were later built upon in Medina and beyond.
Like the seed that grew into the whole tree of Islam.
Exactly. And there's another thing about Al-Fatihah, something that's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
What's that?
The structure. Al-Fatihah has 7 verses, right?
Yeah.
And within those verses, there's a specific number of words, a specific number of letters. Okay, and what about it?
Well, in Islamic tradition, numbers often have symbolic meanings.
Like secret codes?
Kind of. Some scholars believe that the specific numbers in Al-Fatihah point to its completeness, its perfection.
So it's not just random.
Not at all. It's like a perfectly crafted puzzle where every piece fits together exactly right.
That's incredible.
It really makes you appreciate the level of intentionality behind every aspect of Al-Fatihah. From its placement as the opening chapter to its names, to the structure, even down to the number of words and letters. It's mind-blowing.
It really is. This whole deep dive has completely changed how I see Al-Fatihah. It's not just a prayer anymore.
What is it then?
It's a conversation with the divine. It's a source of healing. It's the foundation of my beliefs. It's a guide for navigating life.
It's all of those things. And that's the beauty of it. Al-Fatihah is a living guide for us today.
And the more we engage with it, the more we learn from it.
Exactly. The more it has the power to transform our hearts, our minds, our actions.
This has been incredible. Thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
Al-Fatihah is one of those texts that you can spend a lifetime studying and still find new depths of meaning.
And that's what I love about these deep dives. We can take something familiar and really unpack it, see it in a new light.
Exactly. So to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep reflecting, and most importantly, keep the conversation going.
That's right, because when we delve deeper, we discover so much more. Until next time, stay curious.